Okay, we're gonna recreate this. So I created this model in Blender, simple low poly model, baked out the textures, and I can show you the whole process how you bake the textures out and import it into Ventuz. So we have a baked textures version, and then we have another version where it's just the material. So if I unblock these now, see, you import it with all the materials, then you can go in and apply your lighting, bam, and you can light it inside the scene as well. So two options. So baking, I use a lot of baking for certain objects that are moving, non-static objects, and if I want a specific look or lighting effect, then I'll bake those into a texture. So let's get started. Let's go into Blender first. Let's close this, don't save. Let's open up Blender. So we'll start with this default cube. So we're using Blender 2.8 right now. So we're gonna just build a chicken. So now I might put my reference. I might need my reference of that chicken. Nah, I'll just try to make it up. There we go. I'll try to remember what it looked like. There we go. So let's just move this cube up to edit mode, to faces. And I'll just expand the tools so you can see the names of which tools I'm clicking on. So let's make the body. So let's push this up. So we want to extrude region. There we go. So I want 3 pieces. So one piece will be the mouth, then the beak, and you got the head. Now we can select these and then kind of just bring it out a bit longer. Nothing too complicated. Insert face. It's gonna really quick, trying to keep it nice and simple. Nothing too complicated. Just some low poly modeling. I'll do one side, and what we'll do is we'll mirror it. So we'll just focus on one side of the face for now. It makes our life easier. It's quite good. So let's extract that. Extrude that, sorry. There we go. So we've got the wing kind of built. Now to make our life easier, so let's just get the loop cut. There we go. Make sure we're on faces. Extrude. Extrude this. And then if you want, you can insert that. And I'll just scale this up a little bit. It won't look exactly the same, but there we go. We've got a chicken. There we go. That's kind of like the back. Now the front. We do the same. You can select these 2 faces, extrude them out. There we go. Now what we can do is select this off. Delete faces. Faces. And select that, delete that face, and delete that face. Cool. So we've got half. Oh, delete that face too. Also delete these inner ones. Now here we want an eye somewhere around here. So what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to make this slightly smaller. So I'll just go vertices. So make sure I shift select. Just move that down a bit. I might move this up a little bit. Shift select, just make sure I'm selecting all the vertices, I don't want to miss any. Okay. And the faces, select this one, just pull this out a tiny bit. Nah, doesn't look too bad. We might have to move. Yeah, we will have to move, so let's just fix that. Delete this face and delete this face. Yeah, delete the face. Let's see what happens. Let's move these vertices in. Yeah, and these two in. Not gonna be perfect, but hey, okay. Just a low poly model. Okay, so we want a little eye in there, little square eye. Faces again. Now you could do this probably in any application. I'm just been learning how to use Blender now because it's open source. With hard times, you know, easier to use an open source software than pay Cinema 4D subscription. Oh, there you go. Now you might want to maybe cut that or put a knife edge loop or something. Oh. It doesn't matter, leave it as a quadrant. I was going to put a nice cut there and then fix that, but okay, that'll do. We got the body, we got the beak, the eye. Let's build the leg. Just select the bottom, insert region, face, and scale the leg in. Just a square, extrude region. Now I'm not using any shortcuts. So you can see which tools I'm clicking on. It's going on. Okay. Now what I want to make sure is that I don't go over the line here. Doesn't need to be perfect, but there we go. Extrude this as one. There we go, we've got a foot. Now I think that's a bit wide, so I might just select those. And these, and just scale. Oh, we missed one. Okay, that'll do. Okay, not perfect, but hey. Go into face mode. What we're gonna do is we've got to create materials, so we need to create materials. So create first material, I'll just call this gonna be white. Okay, I'll just leave it as base white assign, make sure that's used in there. Then what you can do is go into view shade import if you want, so you can see the shaders. And what we can do is we can add another shader, so we can create another one, so new, and then I'll name this black, and then change the base color to black, Right. Add another one. New. Yellow. Change it to yellowish, kind of yellow color. Yep, I'll do. I'm happy with that. And another one. New. Orange. I'll rename this to orange. Bam. And change the base color to orange. Now you can tweak the parameters of all this, like specular and the roughness, but I'm just going for a flat look right now. So we're already using the white on that, but to assign it to the other ones we need to select the faces that we want to apply materials to. So select the foot, for example, and the top half of this nose, like so, and say these are yellow, and I'll say assign, and then I'll just say, okay, select this bottom nip and I say this is orange, assign. And click on the eye, select the black material, assign. Now I forgot to add the little, little bit at the top of the head. I'll just add that in, bam. Extrude this out. Select the box. Boom. Make sure I have all the sides selected. Haven't missed any faces, and I'll assign orange to that. Now you might want to, you could change the shape, for example, if you wanted, or you can go further into it. So I'll just go. Maybe I want it like this. There you go. Slightly different version of what I showed you, but hey, it doesn't need to be exact. You can make whatever you want. Yeah. Okay, so now we want to apply a modifier to this. So let's go back into object mode. So we kind of got our model ready. Let's delete this light as well. We don't need that light, so I'll just delete the light for now. Okay, so click on our chicken. Right now it's called cube, so if you want to double click that and rename it chicken. Okay, I'll just rename it chicken. Oh, I don't know what it is, some kind of chicken thing. Anyway, look at this little spanner thing. There's modifier properties, add modifier, and there should be one called mirror. So look for mirror. If we can find it, mirror, bam. Now it's going to ask you which axis, so you can like click on each one, So for me, it's the Y. I believe you can do the offset. Nope. Is it not that one? Now I've got a problem with this, so let me undo the modifier. Let me delete them. Now the problem is this top bit, so we'll go back into edit mode, and I forgot to put this to the edge, so pretty easy to fix. We just select the face, delete that, delete this. Oh, there. Let me select it, please. Move. Alright, let me go into. I have no idea why it's doing that, but oh yeah, delete face. Delete face. It's doing some weird behavior on the shaded mode. That's weird. Just select these and just bring this face in. So now when I mirror it, and maybe I want to bring this in. inwards. There we go. Cool. Okay, let's go back to object node. Go back to shaded mode if you want. Okay, click on that. Go back to modifiers, add modifier, mirror. Bam. Choose the right axis. So right for me is the Y. There you go, we got a little chicken. Little chicken. Now, once you're happy with your modifier, you can hit apply, and that will like make it as one object now. Cool. So it's kind of merged it down, so you can't edit that modifier anymore. So before you hit apply, make sure you're happy with the model. That'll do for this. It doesn't need to be perfect. Now, I did miss some faces, so if you do miss some faces like I did, you can always go back, edit mode, select, shift selecting. There we go, make sure I got all those signed. Yellow assign. I can go back to object mode. There you go. Nah, I didn't miss any faces. There you go. So you got a little duck thing or whatever it is. Kind of looks weird, the beak, but this one's more triangle rather than square. But let's go to add a floor. So just add object, mesh, plane. Oh, not cube, plane. Add mesh, plane. Scale this up. Okay. So I just have something to bake the shadows on the ground as well. Right. Push him up. There we go. Okay. Now if you go in your render mode, so right now you'll be using Eevee by default. So with baking you have to use CPU in 2.8 CPU. I know in the older ones you could do GPU, but when you go GPU the baking disappears. If you want you can go into, I think there's a few options you can do, like turn on your ambient occlusion, and you can bake that in there as well. I can't remember which tab it was. Let's see, which one is it? There we go. This little world tab. World, I guess it's world setting. So I'll do is just bring that factor down. Right. You can change the size if you want. I'll bring this. I don't need it too bright. So that. And then if I add, for example, you can add some lighting in there if you want. So to cast shadows, and so if we've got lights, and add point lights on. I'm going to use a sun. I choose the sun. There we go. Now you can choose whatever you want, direction. Okay. I'm happy with that. Levels, you know, look, you can start baking that in. So you can bake each individual one. So if you go into, you have to create the UV maps. So we do have to create UV maps and stuff like this, but we'll do that in a second. But with the baking settings, you can under baking, you can do combined, or you can do each individual one. So the emission, the ambient occlusion, subsurface, glossy, diffuse. So you can do them all separate. Or you can do the combined. We're going to do a combined one. So that's my floor. So let's adjust our layout. So let's split this. Yeah. I want a vertical split on the left, and then I want the horizontal split here. And then on this one, this will be my UV editor, and this one will be my shader editor. Okay, and let's click on the materials tab here. So there's our materials. Make sure you select object, then the material tabs will come up. There we go. So make sure you have, so you can see your shaders like so. Hopefully it's not, I can make this smaller, make this a bit bigger. So what we want to do is we want to say, click on the object. I'm just going to select all the faces, so edit mode, select all. Then I'm going to go under UV. I'm going to say, so you can see that that's the current UV, which is just the cube. So on the UV, I'm going to say light pack. Now you can choose your image size for that texture. I'm going to go for, let's say 2048. And you can do packing by 12, 10. Some people say 10 is tight. By default, we can just leave it for default for now. Some people change it to 16. I'll see 10 and we'll see how it looks. So hopefully it doesn't look too bad. Once you're happy, hit OK, and there you go. Unpack your UV mapping for that. And what you want to do is add new, so create new image. Make sure it's the same resolution as what your light packing you can do. So this is going to be 2048 by 2048. And give it a title. So this is the chicken. And hit OK. So that's done. That's the chicken done. So let's bake out the chicken first, and we'll repeat the same process for the floor. And it should be quicker with the floor. Anyway, so what we need to do for each material, we need to apply an image texture here, this image texture, to say bake that shade, that material to that. So let's click on the white one first, and then if I hold shift, is it A, shift and A, it brings up the menu, and then you can go texture, image texture. So there we go. I'm just going to add that in, and then this drop down, I'm going to choose chicken. That's all I have to do. Then I'll go to the next material, so I'll go black, repeat the thing, shift A, bring up the little menu, and I'll go texture, image texture, and choose chicken. So you notice that they both have them, and then you just repeat it for each material. So the yellow, shift A, texture, chicken. And orange, shift A, texture, image texture. Oh, make sure I click it. There we go. Bam. Image texture, and then just say chicken. Bam. So they all got a texture each. Cool. So what we can do is actually let's do the floor as well. Might as well do the floor. So select the floor. We need to make a new UV for this floor. So you can go image new for this floor. 2048 by 2048, that's fine. Make sure you select the object mode. Make sure this is chicken. That's fine. I hope I haven't broken it, but that should be fine. And right, this floor, select all. Edit mode, select all. Yeah, that's selected. UV, black back, 2048, that's fine. There you go. So now we've got the floor. Okay, I can go back to object mode. I got chicken. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm not sure if it will work like that, but we'll see. Go into the baking mode. So on the rendering, so we've got bake. Make sure your render engine set to cycles. Again, CPU, because when you go GPU compute, this disappears, which is a shame. GPU compute was a lot quicker, but the baking's not there yet. Maybe in a newer version, or I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna bake it as it is. Now you can up the resolution of the path tracing and the samples and stuff. For this, I'll leave it 128. Okay. So we've got the chicken selected. I'm gonna hit bake. As you can see, now we have the textures baked, and it says map saved internally. So it's only here saved, so it's not saved anywhere on your machine. It's just internally in Blender. So you need to save this texture out. Save as. So I'm going to save this as chicken on my desktop. Now this is the example one I showed you that I made earlier, and I'll make a new folder. So I've got this new chicken, or second chicken. Second chicken. Chicken 2. I'll just make sure. Save as. So that's saved, and that's all baked out. Nice. Now what we can do is we can select this. Select the floor, and you can repeat the same process for the floor. Oh yeah, we haven't assigned the material to this. That's right. So you see where it says no image found, add material or bake an external image file. So I forgot to add a material to this. So you can see here, if I click, it says there's no material. So I can just click new, call this floor, and Shift A, image, texture, and then say floor. There we go. Now it should be ready to bake. And there we go. You can see the shadows baked into the floor, into the texture. Now you can do is floor, you can just say save as, and save it to your directory where you choose to save it for. Once you have them saved, you can apply those materials back into here if you wanted, or you can just export the models next. I'll just select the plane and the chicken. I'll just go file, export, wavefront OBJ, and I'll place them into my chicken folder. Call them chicken. I'll leave it objects as objects. So what I'll do is make each material part as an object. You'll see in a second. You can also group them if you want, but I'll leave it like this for now. Everything seems fine by default. Export. Oh, make sure I say chicken 2. There we go. So now we've done that. You can save your Blender scene if you want. So I'm going to save this in the chicken folder, in chicken 2, and chicken 2. There we go. Once it's saved, I'm going to close this. Now let's open up Ventuz. So this is loading. Ignore my error messages. These are just devices that are unplugged from my machine right now. So you can create a new project, or you can open an existing one. I'm just gonna accept an existing one and it'll create a new scene for me. And now if we go to our folder on our desktop, so this is the chicken 2, so the second chicken. I'm just gonna drag and drop my obj into the scene. Bam. And there's our chicken. Now you can see we got all the materials if we want to light it in Ventuz. So we could leave it as this if we wanted, for example. So I'm gonna just delete this one and say I wanted to apply lighting with shadow map. And great, you can do that. That's fantastic. You know, you can bake it all in. I mean, you don't have to bake it, it can all be real time. And you know, that could be something you're looking for. There you go. And you'll be happy with that. But there might be a specific lighting effect you want to achieve, or it doesn't need to be dynamic, so it doesn't move or static like I said at the beginning. So you want to bake that in, so we can do that. So what I'm going to do is just Control A, select all the materials, hit Control A. So just to make them inactive. I'm just going to get a color, solid color, place it in front of the whole group, and go to the material, texture, base, double click the image. Now we go to the directory, we saved our texture light pack map, our texture where we created this texture. Bam! Now you notice it applied it to the floor. That's not a problem, we'll fix that in a second. But already you can see it's got the texture there for the chicken and the shadows are baked in. Make sure this is white. Okay, so now the floor itself, we're gonna need to move this out of the group just above the material. So that's the floor. So now this is not being affected, and then add this separate color for this. So you can place this in front, wherever you want, as long as it applies to that object. No light, texture, base, and load the floor texture in. Now that floor texture is baked in, and you have your chicken inside the scene. There we go. Bake texturing from Blender to Ventuz. And it's really useful. If you want to bake stuff in, you know, make it look more complicated than it is, you know, you can do that. Now you might notice some of the margins here. I think this is just the I'm going to turn this off, or say clamp. Or is it advanced? And then I think I did clamp. And I'll say none. Yeah, there you go. It's a little bit better. There you go. Hopefully that was some use. If you want, you could combine the two together, so you could actually turn those materials on. And now you can see you got the baked texture along with the material, so you could still affect the light. The lighting can still affect that, but it's still baked, so you can still light it in certain ways, or you know, you can multiply your textures. But yeah, hopefully that was some use. Hope that helped. Enjoy the rest of your evening, morning or night, day. See you later.